In this video, let's talk about watchEffect. In the previous video, you have seen that view watchers provide an approach to reacting to changes in an application's data. By specifying which data to watch and defining a callback function, you gain fine-grained control over your reactive logic. View provides another watch function called watchEffect. So how is this different from the regular watch? Let's go to VS Code. Now we're on branch, watchEffect. Let's look at this code example. Here is a registration form with an email field and a password field. We want to only enable the register button when both fields are filled out correctly according to some validation rules. Look at this piece of code, which uses a watcher to validate email and a password whenever they change. As you can see, for demo purpose, we just make sure that the user has entered something. For example, I input an email, hello@bingyang.dev, and then input my password, 123456. As you can see, this register button is enabled. Let's look at line 35 to 39. This watcher is watching an array of reactive data, email and password. That's the first argument. The second argument of this watch method is a callback function, and it would trigger when email or password changes. Notice how this watcher uses email and password twice. Once as the source, and then again inside the callback. It turns out that this is very common when you're using a watcher. Think about this. In this example, there are only 2 fields. What if there are 10? What if there are 20? Then we need to explicitly list all 10 fields here as the source, and then validate them one by one in the callback. That makes your code bloated and hard to maintain. You have a very long watch method, right? And there are duplicates because you use them twice. The thing you're watching, and you're going to validate the things you're watching in the callback function. And what if we add another field to validate in the callback function, but forget to add it to the watch list? If they're not synchronized, then there'll be problems. So, for watchers that have multiple dependencies, like this one, Vue provides another feature called watchEffect, which allows to react to changes without explicitly listing each one in the source. So using watchEffect removes the burden of having to maintain the list of dependencies manually. So let's refactor this example. I'm going to copy this and paste here. Let me comment out this. Okay, so let's use watchEffect. And this time, you can get rid of the first argument. Only keep the callback. Okay, that's it. Let's test. hello@bingyang.dev 123456. Okay, it still works. Very good. So what happened is that watchEffect will automatically track reactive data used in the callback. So in this case, if there's a change to the reactive data used in the callback function, this callback will be triggered. In our example, this watchEffect will automatically track email and password as dependencies. So this is pretty similar to computed properties. Recall that in the computed properties, you don't have to provide a source. A computed property will be recomputed if its dependencies change. Same thing here. Whenever email or password changes, this callback will be run again. With watchEffect, we no longer need to pass an array of data explicitly as source value. Also, watchEffect is by default eager. In other words, the callback in watchEffect will run immediately. There is no need to specify immediate true. So let's test this. So here I'm going to console log watchEffect, refresh, and here I'm going to press F12. As you can see, when the page gets loaded, before I even enter something in email or password, this callback is already executed. There is another use case where I think watchEffect is better than a regular watcher. Imagine this. There is a very complex JavaScript object. It has many nested objects. And the nested objects inside it may also have their own nested objects, and so on and so forth. It may be very deep. In this case, if you're using a regular watcher, then you have to make it a deep watcher. However, there's no free lunch. Deep watcher needs to recursively track all the properties in this complex object, so it is very inefficient. Maybe you're only interested in several properties, not all of them. By using a deep watcher, you have to watch all of them, even though most properties don't matter. In this scenario, watchEffect may prove more efficient than a deep watcher, as it will only track the properties that are used in the callback, rather than recursively tracking all of them, so it's more efficient. Let me show you one example. In this example, we defined a JavaScript object, wizard1, with ID, name, house, age, and a nested object, wand. And this wand has two properties, core and wood. So here we display the name of the wizard, the wand, here is a JSON object, the age, and three buttons that change the properties in this JavaScript object. Change name to uppercase. Here is the logic. Change wand core right here, and change age right here. So very simple. Let's say in this example, I'm only interested in the changes of the name of the wizard and also the core of a wand. Instead of using a deep watcher to watch the entire JavaScript object, let's use watchEffect. It is very simple. watchEffect, and here is a callback function. If you're only interested in the name of the wizard and also the core of a wand, simply use them in this callback function. In this example, I will simply just print them out. Wizard1 dot name, wizard1 dot wand dot core. Refresh. Let me press F12. Refresh. Okay. Don't worry about this one. This is from the previous example. As you can see, when the page gets loaded, the wizard's name and the wizard's wand core are printed, because by default, watchEffect is eager. Okay. Next, let me clean this. Let me change the name of the wizard to uppercase. So click here. All right. So the callback of the watchEffect is triggered. Now, what about I change the core of his wand? Okay. So let's click here. Now it is changed to unicorn hair. What about I change age? Well, since we're not using age inside the callback function, this watchEffect is not watching the age of this wizard. So if I click change age is changed, but the watchEffect is not triggered. So one thing I really like about watchEffect is I do not have to use deep watcher to watch all other irrelevant properties. I can only watch the properties that I care by simply using them in the callback function. All right, in the end, I want to show you that by default, watchEffect is not deep watch. So here, watchEffect. So for example, here, I'm going to do this console.log. I'm going to watch this wizard1. Okay, watch wizard1. First of all, let me comment out this. All right, refresh and click here. Let me click change name to uppercase. Nothing's printed in the console. Change wand core, still nothing. Change age, nothing in the console. So in this demo, this watchEffect is not triggered, even though it seems like it's watching wizard1, but it's not a deep watch. Remember, by default, watchEffect is not deep watch. So changing its properties will not trigger the callback function. In conclusion, watchEffect is a function that automatically tracks reactive dependencies and reruns when any of them change. Unlike the regular watch function, which requires specifying the exact reactive sources to observe, watchEffect works by implicitly tracking any reactive data used inside its callback function. This makes it particularly useful for side effects that depend on multiple reactive sources, or for simplifying component logic. watchEffect is particularly useful for operations that need to react to more than one reactive source, or when it is not straightforward to list all dependencies, as it simplifies the code by automatically tracking all reactive data used within the callback function. I hope this video can help you understand watchEffect and when to use watchEffect over the regular watch. See you in the next video.